What's going on? What's going on, family? How y'all doing this morning? This morning. Good evening, family. How y'all doing this evening, man? We are coming to y'all live as usual for Pinellas High School Media Group. This is Royce Wheeler. I'm the owner of Pinellas High School Media Group, and we got Coach Green coming in.
What's up, y'all? What's going on? Good
All
afternoon.
right, all right. We got Coach Green coming in. Just for another show. We're going to be doing this weekly show, but we're just going to be bringing you a couple different things as far as different sports. Of course, we're going to be talking some football and what's going on as far as that. But we're also going to be trying to throw some other sports in here. We got some basketball going on in Pinellas and some baseball. We got some other things going on, so we definitely want to go ahead and highlight that. Make sure that everything is good to go. Anything new with you so far this week, Green?
Yeah, man. Just been of course, looking at some different things. I'll be at the top 40 camp, quarterback camp this weekend with BJ Hall, highlighting some of the quarterbacks from around the area. Big name guys are going to be there. So I'll be able to share a little bit about those guys. And then just working on some stuff, man, as far as some recruits that's going to be committing probably in the spring, and then working with some of these guys that's going to be signing in February. So just trying to put some stuff together for that, for for some of our recruits that's still left out there that hasn't signed with the team yet, signed with the school yet, should say.
Okay, cool, man. So, as everybody knows, this past week, we were able to present our third Pinellas High School Media Group Award. We were able to present that to Mr. Jashawn Newton. So, that was something that we got to do this past week. Our first time ever really being able to give out a tangible award. A physical award. So we, of course, we were able to give him this shirt, sponsored by one of our sponsors, Mr. Greg Thomas. And we also were able to give him some other monetary items that came from the community. CCC laid out the red carpet for us. The team did their thing, man. And of course, Mr. Newton, he was very humble. He came up, gave about a 5-second speech, but I was very happy to be able to present something, like I said, to these kids because, of course, like I said at the press conference, like I said at the when we were up there speaking, growing up, a lot, at least you were able to get player of the year, be able to see yourself in the paper, but you don't have the opportunity anymore. So to be able to bring that opportunity back was a very good thing. What did you think about that, Green?
Yeah, I was honored to be able to present this award to Mr. Newton. Many One of the many awards that this young man will probably receive in his career. But just hats off. And as I spoke and I talked about how, I had an opportunity to see him grow as a young man, being able to have the opportunity to coach him and Pop Warner was, and seeing the process from him growing from a Pop Warner quarterback athlete up until now where he is, man, and just the strides that he's made over the last few years, it's just remarkable. A lot of the naysayers would say, I don't think this kid's going to be this, or I don't think he's going to be that. But as you look at his stats and you look at the what he's done production wise in the last 2 years at CCC,
Mm-hmm.
it's just remarkable. And the type of kid speaks for itself, real humble, real, kid that just, he can light up a room when he comes in, and he demands presence. And he does that both on and off the field. So I couldn't have been, like I said, more honored to be a part of his award ceremony and honoring him with that award of being, picked as player of the year.
Definitely, man. And as we spoke, it was a voted on award. It was not something where we just came in and just handed it to anybody we didn't want, burst off any smoke or why you guys are doing this. We wanted it to be a collective. So we handed out that vote to 25 players. And not to take away from any of the other candidates, but of course, like I told everybody, Mr. Noon had that big playoff run at the end that kind of solidified it because for a moment, everybody did say, Jeff Jones had it definitely when he hit that 2,000 yards. But just wanted to throw out a couple sponsors, man. Of course, we got Mr. Greg Thomas up there with Thomas and Thomas Customs. With Miss Fancy Nancy out of St. Pete. We got Julia Riley with Weed Care. Robinson's Italian Ice, and of course, Breadwinners and Company. They were able to all assist in making sure that we were able to make this nice for Mr. Newton. So wanted to give a shout out to them first and foremost, because without them, this definitely would have been able to happen. We wouldn't have been able to show Mr. Newton the type of love that we were able to show them. So I wanted to give a shout out to all of them. And of course, we all know Mr. Thomas. He presented the award, so we appreciate him because when those kids saw that shirt, they loved it, man. That's something, and of course, it's in a case, so that's something that he'll be able to hang up at his home. He'll be able to have that and show that to his family for the rest of his life and hang that up. And of course, with the rest of his brothers and what they got going on, I'm pretty sure that'll fit in pretty nicely with everything. So of course, like I said, we want to give a shout out to them. But let's continue on. We got a special guest today. A lot of movement has been going on in Pinellas County, and it's really been the last 2 weeks. But some of the movement that kicked it off was, of course, Coach Crume from Calvary decided to go ahead and resign, and that happens. We're all adults. We all have we all have lives. Excuse me. But I'm very, just speaking to Coach, I'm very happy, for him. It seems like he's in a good place with that, and he's going to be leaving Calvary in a good place. So we're going to go ahead and bring him on real quick. What's going on, Coach? Can you hear us?
I'm doing well, man. How are you guys?
I'm doing great, man. How about
good, Coach? Good to see you.
Good. Appreciate you guys having me on, man. And I do want to just commend you guys for taking the time to, put together, that award and recognize these young men. I think that's awesome. I saw some of the photos where you guys presented that to Newton. That was really cool. And so I just, like I said, commend you guys for that. And I congratulate Newton on winning that. He's obviously put together, some really good seasons. And, that kid's definitely a winner. That's for sure. And I definitely need to get with his dad for sure. And just, I pick on some things, man. He's done a great job with all the young men in his family. They're all doing well. And, he's definitely, done a good job with those boys and the ones I've, got a chance to come across, and they're all very humble and handle themselves well. And I just think that speaks volumes to that family.
Definitely.
So congrats to that
definitely.
family, and congrats to him. And obviously he's got, even more noise to make. He moves forward.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He's definitely very well known in the community. These boys have been around for a long time, man. They've, always been good kids, man. So we definitely want to send the congratulations out to the Newton family for what they have ahead.
Yep.
Definitely want to give a shout out to them. But let's go ahead and just get into it, Coach. Man, we like I said, we want to definitely wish you well moving forward. Go ahead and ask you a couple questions just to let everybody kind of know, what's going on with you, man, and how, how everything is with Coach. So just reflecting on your time. Reflecting on your time at Calvary. Can you just give us, reflecting on the past years and share your thoughts on your journey with the team and how the last couple of weeks have kind of reflected in your mind?
Yeah, there's no real good time to, to make a decision like this. The biggest thing you always feel like you're going to be letting somebody down. So there's never a good time to, step down. But I felt like, it was just time for me, just personally for a lot of different reasons. It's never just one reason that's just trumps everything. It's a culmination of things. But, when I reflect on my time at Calvary as the head coach, it was good, and, just like any job or definitely any coaching job, there's going to be ups and downs, but I can honestly say there was a lot more ups than downs, and that was because of the people I was around. When I think about my coaches, I had an awesome coaching staff. I think probably four coaches off my staff, have been with me for at least 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Two have been with me for 10 years. One was a former player, so I just think about the people that were around me, the players. I really was blessed to have some awesome group of young men that I got a chance to coach and be around over the last several years. And then administration, Calvary administration did a good job of, supporting me when, some tried to cut my legs from up under me, especially when I first got there. And, they had my back through that stuff. And I always say that a coaching job like Calvary shouldn't probably be anyone's first head coaching job. I think you need to kind of, go through the mud, you know what I mean, as we would say, and really appreciate, getting into an opportunity like that. Because, whether it was just game day logistics or, just, protecting me from, just different things, man. They're just there to support. So, I always pride myself on, leaving a place better than the way I found it. And I think I can honestly sit back and say that, hey, I feel like I left Calvary better than the way I found it. And, I think about also, all the families that, that came into our program and became closer to Christ, which is the ultimate thing, and that was one of the things that, excited me about being able to get into the Christian environment in a Christian school. I've always had fellowship with Christian athletes, a part of my program. Pat Kavanaugh heads up, our county for the most part with that. But, being able to just be more free with that. And, I think about like Harold Cook, man, and his family, and getting baptized, and they still go to my church, the chapel today, getting baptized as a family. I think about, Richie LaRaza, and his family, and just all those different, situations of, watching families just grow in their faith, and that stuff is in that part as well, which is the ultimate goal. But like I said, it was a great ride, a good, 6 years, spent there. And it definitely made me a better person. It made me, definitely more conscious of, my decisions and just how I move and, things I said. And I just like where it took me, as well personally. So, so it was good. A lot of good times.
When you think back, I know it's probably hard to just pick one, but maybe one or two. What are one or two standout moments that you had in your Calvary coaching career that you could just think of off the top?
Man, you said it's hard to pick one, so you gave me one extra, huh? I get
Yeah.
two. I get two. There's a lot of good ones. I think about the first year. We went 5-5, but it was probably about one time in my coaching career where I kind of knew that I did not have total buy-in from everybody around me. It was probably one of the first times, and there were some things going on. I won't get into those details, but there was not total. That didn't have total buy-in, and we still went on to win a playoff game that year. Which I'll be honest, I didn't even realize at that time that was as big of a deal as it was. But it was a huge deal winning the playoff game that year, and then we had a big battle in the second round with Berkeley. But just once I found out some of the things that were going on around me after that season that some protected me from, it really made that special. I felt like, the fact that, we were able to still have that level of success in a season when you don't have that, which I was always accustomed to. I've been to 3 schools. I've inherited coaches on my staff. I've always been able to get that buy-in right away. And that first year, it was a little bit of a struggle for different reasons. But that year was special. And then, I would definitely say, the last 2 years, with, having 10 wins, and probably I'll stay last year since you're going to limit me to 2. But, last year, going into that season, we talked about #TG, and what that was #Thanksgiving. And, I told our parents at the banquet the year before, so this would have been in 2021. I told our parents, I said, practicing on Thanksgiving and making a run to playoffs, it's a mindset. There's some programs that expect to practice on Thanksgiving. So what that means is they're not planning vacations. You know what I mean? They're not they're not, ready to go to the next sport. Hey, if people come on vacation, they come to Florida for Thanksgiving to come watch football, and that's a mindset. And that was a mindset at Calvary. So so I said we have to have a mindset that we expect to be still together. Don't make no plans. If you're making plans to go travel and go on vacation for Thanksgiving next year, you're in the wrong place because we plan on playing football. And so we talked about that and to see it come to fruition. You know what I mean? And people talk about when you have your goals, you got to talk about it, and all that. And we didn't just go plaster that all and boast our chest and beat our chest around town about it. But it was just something that we had internally. And so to see it actually come to fruition after talking about those things, that was pretty special. And then, to obviously do it again this year. And now it is the norm, at that school. So I would say those are kind of some of my standout moments, probably that first year and what we achieved. And then, obviously, last year, first district championship and first 10-win season in school history.
Cool, Coach. Great. So, a couple more questions, man, and I'll let Green throw in. So, you've had players like, of course, Jacob Drackett, Callahan Blair, Joseph Ionata. They made significant strides while you've been there. How do you approach player development, even outside of them? When we this past season, we saw a lot of players step up. So how do you approach player development, and what role do you believe coaching plays in the success of the individual player?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And I got to shout out, a couple of my, those are the new guys. I'm sure if it's any of my old guys on here, Preston Cushman saying, like, what about me? Mike Lofton saying, what about me? So we've had some good ones, man. But those guys are obviously the last couple of years. My first thing, man, I want to do is, provide resources, to my players to be successful. Even if that's not even my own direct instruction. I think a lot of times, as coaches, you can get insecure or, think that your way is the only way or your voice has to be the only voice. The kids, they hear my voice enough. So I'm not shy at all with bringing in additional resources or pointing my kids in a position to have more resources to be successful, because we only get so much time with these guys at school. So what does that include? That includes things like, my strength coach, Coach Nick. Just like a college program. I mean, the second biggest voice in the football program is really the strength coach, because that dude is in the weight room with those guys for hours. You know what I mean? And so, Coach Nick, my strength coach, does a great job there at Calvary. I think he's the best in the country at what he does. It includes, even outside resources when parents want to ask about, hey, what can they be doing more outside of what we're doing at Calvary? I think we've been really good, up front the last couple of years with, some of the things our guys have done with training over at Trench Academy. I mean, Coach Ray O'Neill does a good job over there, and a lot of our linemen go over there and get some work in and just honing on their craft and being around other guys that are like-minded. So I've just never been one to just say, we got to do it all here, and I'm pissed off if you go do it somewhere else. I just want to provide resources for our guys to, be successful. But I think, when you talk about just developing players, it's really, sticking to the fundamentals. I'm big on fundamentals. I'm big on technique, individual, drills, and then playing to your players' strengths. Like putting the guys in position to be successful, not making them fit your scheme, but figuring out how your scheme can fit them. So I think that helps play to some of their strengths and some of their development so they can get comfortable in what they're doing. And once they're comfortable and they understand, now they can play, with their hair on fire without thinking and just be natural, that way. So I would just say, it's not one thing, man. It's really a culmination of things that, we could spend the next hour talking about as far as, player development and what goes into that. But those are just a couple of things that I'll just throw out there.
All right, cool. And your former assistant coach is taking over at Calvary. Coach Safford, I want to say I'm saying that correct.
Coach Safford, yep. West Safford.
Right. So how do you feel about the transition, and what advice did you give him, or would you give him as he steps into that head coaching role? Like, what advice did you give him?
Yeah. Oh, good, man. And Safford was actually at Calvary before I got there, so he was one of the coaches that I inherited. So he's going to do a great job. He's going to do a great job. He understands the culture of the school. He's in the building. He's a Bible teacher. And he's got a good staff around him. That's one of the best things, because one of the toughest things as head coaches when you go to a school, you got to build a staff. It takes a lot of energy. You don't know if guys really buy into what you're doing. That part's really taken care of for him. We have a great staff around him that's going to allow him to be successful as well. He's taking on, he's going to be taking on the play calling, which, he's got a creative offensive mind. And has, has been a big part of our game planning, over the last several years. He's the one that's in the mic on the headset with me. So, anytime I'm like, Coach, what you got? He's got a play ready to go. So, he's done a good job there. And then, but the biggest challenge is going to be, managing a group of men. I know after my first year, that was the biggest thing for me. It wasn't X's and O's. It was just how to manage a program and how to manage a group of men. But he's got the ability, and I'm very confident that he'll do a great job there, as he just kind of makes it his own. It's gonna be different. He's not Coach Reggie. He's not me. It's gonna be different, but but that doesn't mean it's not gonna still be successful. So it's gonna be successful in his way, and he's gonna put his stamp on that program, and I think he's gonna be there for a long time.
Okay, cool. Green, man, I'll let you throw a couple in, man, before I finish up with mine, man. Let's throw a couple in there.
Yes, sir. Coach Crume, man, good to have you on. And again, just a question that I have for you, and this one was outside of maybe some of the ordinary, but just let us know, who is Reggie Crume? Like, because I know you're not from the area. You moved in, but some people may not know you outside of the coach. So just speak to us a little bit about who is Reggie Crume.
Yeah, man, and this is where I'm trying not to get emotional, man, but like this whole coaching ride for me is, I did not grow up saying I want to be a coach. And it's weird to me because my father coached me my whole life, and I was a baseball guy. I played football, but I played baseball. I mean, I went to Austin Peay. I played baseball, at Austin Peay State University. I transferred to Washington University in St. Louis, and I did end up playing football as well. But I never once thought, even in college, that, hey, I want to coach. And I wouldn't be coaching today if it wasn't, for one of my friends calling me one day, in 2003, 4 it was, saying, hey, Reggie, you want to go coach a football team? And I'm like, how are we going to do that? Like literally. And so he's like, hey, we're going to meet me at this park tomorrow. We're going to have a tryout. And I'm like, okay. And so I just show up. And this is my buddy Earl Green and back in St. Louis. And so long short, we did this tryout. We had like 29 and 10-year-olds. And Earl had been coaching baseball because we played baseball together in high school and college. But he had been coaching baseball. And he said, and so his wife was like, wait a minute, you gonna coach baseball in the summer and you finna be going all fall for football? Because he had got married early. I wasn't married yet. Right. So anyway, he ended up quitting. And so it was me, and I had 29 and 10-year-olds standing around me. You know what I mean? And that's literally how I started coaching football. And I grew, and I said to myself, I fell in love instantly, because I always had a passion for working with young men, younger kids. And then I've always loved football. Like I was a baseball guy, but I always loved football. Mm-hmm. And so like, that's how I started. So I really went to my high school mentors and said, man, did I take the wrong path? Like, do I need to go back and be a teacher? Because I was in corporate America at this time. And so they said, no, Reggie, just stay on your path. You're doing good. So I ended up running a JV program for one of my mentors, Cliff Ice, at Webster Groves High School in St. Louis, won multiple state championships. And I did that for a few years. And then one of the biggest thanks that I didn't give on Twitter, and I did a little letter, but, Carl Reed, a lot of you guys may recognize him from 247.
Oh, yeah.
That's my little big brother, man. So he's a year younger than me, but we went to high school together. He's actually the reason that I went to Austin Peay. He almost played agent. Like, he was at Austin Peay before, and he's like, man, you need to get to Austin Peay, that type of thing. But Carl, got a head job at U City High School. People know Nelly. Nelly raps about U City. That's where Nelly went to high school, all the lunatics. Well, so we took over that program in 2011. And he took over that program. And he said, hey, let me back up a step. I also coached the women's football team in St. Louis for 7 years. So I did that. I was an offensive coordinator. Another big pivotal moment for me that really made me who I am today is coaching women's football. You know, Rodney Lacey is a guy who was very pivotal in me and my coaching development, who was the head coach of the women's football team. We won the national championship in 2009. But Rodney learned a lot from Rodney Lacey. But going back to that, Carl, when he came back to St. Louis, because he was in Tennessee at the time, he came back to St. Louis and got the U City job. He says, hey, Reggie, I want you to come coach receivers. And I'm like, how am I going to do that, Carl? Like, I'm in corporate America. I can't get to practice on time. So he literally said, look, what time can you get here? I said, well, I can probably get there by 4:30. He said, we'll do defense first. We'll do offense when you get here. I'm like, all right, cool, let's go.
Wow.
So I'm installing everything. Man, we had 40 kids in total in the program at U City. We had 123 D's and F's out of 43 kids. So out of 40 kids, I'm sorry. So he was dealing so much with trying to get kids eligible, get kids off the street. Oh, he's like, Reggie, you're gonna be the OC. You running it in, you doing it anyway. I'm like, all right. So I went from literally not thinking I could coach high school football at all to being an offensive coordinator at a high school, just like that. And man, we went 1-9 the first year. You know, I mean, we talk about it. I mean, off that staff now is 5 head coaches. I mean, that's the ultimate leader that Carl Reed is. There's 5 coaches off that staff now. But man, we had days of sitting in the closet. We had this little dungeon closet, man, after games for 3 hours trying to figure out how we can move the ball, you know, and get a first down. You know what I mean? Like, man, we took some lumps. But then the next year, you know, we go 6-4. We win a district championship. And next year, we make a deep run again. And then he got the head job at Hazelwood West, which is our rival to our alma mater where we went. And that's when I got the itch to start looking to be a head coach. I covered Florida for my job. So I covered the Southeast for my company. And I always loved Florida. One of my best friends, you may not know this, is Ryan Howard. He used to play for the Phillies. So I spent a lot of time in Clearwater over the years with Ryan. And he was best man at my wedding. I was best man at his wedding. So I spent a lot of time with him. And we always said we was going to make Florida home. And so I just started applying to a bunch of jobs here in the area. And got the head job at Palm Harbor. I'll save something in between on that. But so let's go back again. In 2010, I didn't think I would even be a high school football coach. 2011, I'm coaching high school football. 2014, I'm a head high school football coach in Florida. Like, you know, so man, you know, God has a plan. And it's been just an incredible, you know, journey, you know, that way. But yeah, man, me and my wife and Coach Moore, who I talked about kind of in that thanks, you know, and his wife, like literally, we moved down to Florida on like 40 days notice. You know, my daughter, CC, who's 10 years old, she was 10 months at the time. So March will be 10 years that we've been here in Florida, and we love it, man. We just love Florida. I ain't going nowhere. You know what I mean? I love Florida, but yeah, it's just been an incredible journey, man. Which 10 years as a head coach and really 20 years of doing it down at the youth, you know, all the way down to the youth level. But it's been a great ride, and I'm appreciative of, you know, all the experiences. But I definitely had to shout out Coach Carl Reed, because he's the one that got me into this. You know, he's one that when I applied for jobs, you know, even at the Calvary job, you know, he would put his stamp of approval, you know, and man, he sell you like, you know, sell me like I was, you know, Bill Belichick himself or somebody, you know.
Yeah, Carl Reed a real one, man. For real, boy. Carl Reed a real one, boy.
Yeah, that's
young man. If you don't follow anybody, follow Carl Reed, man. That's a real one right there, boy.
He called when I told him I was doing this interview today. He called me about an hour ago. He's like, man, what's this interview about? Don't say nothing stupid. You know what I mean? Like,
hey,
you know,
if you watching, man, listen.
Yeah.
If you watching, boy, hey, what's up, Coach Reed, man? Listen, I watch Coach Reed every day while I'm looking at stuff from Coach Reed. So, hey, shout out to him, man, for real, man. Straight up, man. What's going on, Green? You got some more stuff to throw out there?
Yeah. So you kind of answered it, Coach Crume. I was going to ask. One of my questions was, when did coaching become a thing? You hit on that, and then like when they say like he's off the saving tree or he's off the, I was going to ask like, who would you consider like you came up under, like what tree you came up under, but you kind of answered that as well. So I'll kind of discourage into the next one
But
question.
I also, just to hit on it, not to cut you off. There's a
Yep.
couple of people that have been influential for me. Jason Martin, who's now the offensive coordinator at Presbyterian. They used to be at Florida Tech. Him and Coach Everhart, Englehart. I spent a lot of time with those guys over the years. Tony Elliott. Through my boy Ryan Howard, his brothers Chris Howard, compliance with the NCAA. So I used to go to the Clemson Clinic every year. But Tony, like, he would come by schools that I coached at. I was on Palm Harbor, Alonzo. I didn't have no players, but he'd come by. But he just come by to rock with me and, always there to answer the questions. He's definitely a guy who I appreciate. Bob Hudson from Eastlake, man, when I got here was the head coach at Palm Harbor. He was gracious and put his arm around me, man. And I'll never forget, he called me when he got to be the head coach in the State of Florida All-Star game and let me be his OC for that. So I'm always appreciative of Bob Hudson, so it's like I said, been a lot of people who, poured into me, but, definitely some of those guys, man, have been really pivotal, in my, in my coaching career for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Few more questions.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll kind of say this one because I kind of know the answer, but as a coach, what do you think is the most difficult part of the job, specifically in Florida, from a Florida high school head coach, outside of the financial part of it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I'm gonna answer from the most difficult part about Florida, and then I'm also going to touch base on just the difficulty as a head coach, because I'm actually sitting on a panel at Playboy Clinics Friday, and we're actually just had a Zoom before this with a couple of coaches. I'm sitting on a panel about being a head coach. So I'm going to touch base on both sides of it. As far as Florida, though, to me, the most difficult part is the recruiting process. Recruiting here is different than definitely in Missouri. I can really speak of those two. Just in terms of the mindset of just the athletes and also the colleges and how they handle it. And I'm not speaking about Power 5, right? If your kid's Power 5, I'm talking about your 1AA kids, your Division II kids, your NAIA kids, which probably you're going to have more of those than you are going to have the Power 5 guys, right? But, in the Midwest, man, if I took St. Louis and took a 5 hour radius around St. Louis, you could hit about 8 states. You know what I mean? And the kid could be 5 hours from home. You know what I mean? A drive from home. Well, think about the state of Florida. From Tampa, it takes 4 hours, 3.5, 4 hours just to get out of the state. You can't go east and west, right? You can you only go 2 hours east, right? So when you just think about the complexity of a young man understanding, man, like if I'm not Florida State, Miami, and those guys, we got a couple NAIA schools here. Well, it's 200 NAIA schools and Division II schools and opportunities for a kid in St. Louis to go and still be close to home. But here, man, they got to be willing to go. And once again, I love Florida, so I understand why these kids love Florida. But it's kind of managing that dynamic. And then, I feel like a lot of kids in St. Louis are a little more realistic in terms of where they are. Like a kid will commit early to a Southeast Missouri State, a Central Missouri State, a Northwest Missouri State, and understand those are great programs. Lindenwood, those are great programs that I can have opportunity to go play at. Austin P, But here it's I'm like, why, Coach? Why can't you get me recruited at Florida? Why I'm not Power 5? And it's also shown in the way that colleges recruit the area. Think about the recruiting fair that we do here at Jefferson High School. When does it happen? It happens after Valentine's Day. That's after signing day. That's because these colleges understand I'm not going to come down there and offer a kid in Florida because he's not going to even entertain me because he thinks he's this, and this. So I'm going to wait till he understands that's not it, and then I can get in the game, and recruit him. So it's trying to manage all of that. I say is the toughest part about being, a head coach to me, when I think about Florida and just opportunities, because, I want all my kids to have an opportunity to go play. And I feel like there's a home for everybody. And I tell people all the time, man, I played Division I baseball, but when I was at WashU, that was a Division III school, I got treated great. It was the best 2 years of my life, but that was an awesome experience for me, so it's trying to get kids to understand that part. As far as the toughest part about being a head coach, it's just that it never stops, especially in Florida. There's no break. Up north, when it's cold outside, football season's over, people playing basketball. When it's hot, people playing baseball, they running track. Here, it's always going on. Right now it's recruiting. Right after recruiting is spring ball. Right after spring ball is summer, it's team camps, it's 7-on-7. After that, you're in the season. You're into the season. And then you're right back into recruiting. You know what I mean? It's 6 days a week. And I'm being generous and saying 6. But it's whether it's a parent, whether it's a player, whether it's administration, no matter what it is, it's every day and it's all times a year. But I embrace that and I enjoy that. I was blessed to have a wife that supported, I always joke with my parents at Palm Harbor. In our banquets, she has a pillow that comes out during football season, says, "We now interrupt this marriage to bring you a football season." You know what I mean? And that's a pillow that comes out. But
Right.
but she's supportive. It never made me feel compromised. Honestly, if it was up to her, I'd still be coaching. I never gotten any pressure from her, which is awesome, but it just never stops. It's a grind. And I don't know if other coaches kind of handle it differently. Maybe I know there's coaches maybe that say, "Hey, OC, offensive coordinator, you're going to take care of recruiting. Hey, defensive coordinator, you're going to take care of taking the kids on the college camp tour. Hey, quarterback coach, you're going to take care of, the team camp." I'm just never going to ask anybody to do anything that I'm not willing to do myself.
Right.
And so I'm going to have my hand in all that. And so some may say, "Well, Reggie, you kind of run yourself thin," but that's just the only way I know how to do it, man. I'm a grind, and if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it right. And that's hopefully the example that I showed, my players and anybody that's been around me the last 10 years.
All right, Coach. We got one more question for you because we got somebody else coming in. If you could share a message with the Calvary community and the supporters, what would it be as you transition to the next chapter in your career, or as in the next chapter?
Yeah. No, man, I'm very appreciative of the opportunity, to have had a chance to coach at a school like Calvary and grow, along, with the school. And I'm a strong believer that, while we've gotten a program where we're competing for regional championships and we winning district championships, that it could be a state championship program, no different than our baseball program. Coach Olson does a great job with that. Our volleyball program, Coach Kim Whitney does a great job with that. It's a championship program. And then softball, Coach Dion Weaver, two championships in 2 years of being a head coach. I feel like football can be on that same, trajectory, and I look forward to seeing them continue to get down that path, that way. But I'm very appreciative, of that opportunity. And I'm appreciative of the fact that we did things right. We did things the right way. I always wanted to be an example to our kids. I'm not getting caught up into, social media drama and, kids that come tell me things, but this is not how I roll. I just want our kids to do the right things. And I always said I wanted to use football as a platform to be a positive influence to young men. And I hope I did that, be an example that you don't have to be a professional athlete. You don't have to be a rapper to be successful, to do things that you want to do. You can get a good education, build relationships, in that way. And then I feel like I said, we did things the right way. You look at our teams the last 2 years, these were program kids. You're not finding a kid on our team that, was a, 1 year rental or, came in for 1 year, transferred in, that sort of thing. You talk about Jacob Drackett. Jacob Drackett was a 4-year kid. You talk about Callahan Bled as a 4-year kid.
Mm-hmm.
4-year kid. Josh Robinson, I know he just left, but he was there for 3 years.
Right.
Sean Cuno, 3 years. So once again, we wasn't, doing the, we weren't dealing, we were building kids that had been in our places from day one, and having a level of success that way. And so that's something that I'm definitely proud of, is that, we were able to, back to your point, to build and develop, young men who have gotten to be successful and go on to play college. And the other thing, Coach, that I'd be remiss to say in terms of just achievements is, in my 6 years, we've had and we will have had as of February 31 kids sign letters of intent to play college football.
Sir.
And that's including my first year where it was just 2 who wanted to. You know what I mean? So, that number you can argue maybe was skewed. Those kids, some kids that transferred out before I even got there, but to Calvary. But we had 31 kids sign letters of intent to play college football, and it's always been a passion of mine. And that's why I'm still there around the school now. I'm navigating the recruiting process for our guys because I got 1 or 2 more. They got to find some homes, and so I'm going to be there for them. I wasn't going to bow out on that and leave that on somebody else's plate because I've gone to other schools where that's happened. So, like I said, those are the things that I would like to leave the, Calvary community with. And I just a thank you. I appreciate the opportunity and look forward to, the future opportunities and being an advocate, for the school.
All right, cool, Coach, man. Well, we appreciate you coming on, Coach. Yeah, we got a couple more people we got to talk to. So, if you need anything, just holler at us. If you ever come on and get announce anything, just holler at us, man. And we definitely appreciate the opportunity to talk to you.
I love what you guys are doing, man. This is awesome. Keep doing it. And like I said, anywhere I could be a resource for you, don't hesitate. I got a little more time on my hands.
All right, thanks, Coach, man. We appreciate it.
Appreciate you, brother.
Take care.
Have a great day. Great night. All right, man. That was Coach Crume, man. That was definitely great talk. We appreciate him sliding through. We got a few more things we're gonna be talking about tonight. And one thing I talked about when we announced the show was we gonna talk about our top 5 going into next year. So we're gonna talk about that briefly, and then we got a guest that's gonna be coming on. So right now, just going into next year, we got our top 3, of course, Mr. Newton and Mr. Jones. These 2 guys, the last 2 years, have actually been they've been our player of the year the last 2 years. So we got these guys coming back. It's their senior year. They're coming back real strong. As you can see, these are their stats. They're coming back, like I say, real strong, man. And of course, you got Mr. Raymond. He's coming back real strong. Probably the hardest recruit in the area. Has a lot of SEC schools offering him on top of just other schools. So right now, I could say he probably has the biggest offers, not the most, but right now he has the biggest, of course. And then we got down here we got Mr. Triplett for Pinellas Park, another top running back who didn't get a lot of shine last year like he should have, but played a little quarterback when needed to. But of course, man, he does run that rock. He's a big senior coming in. And then last we got Mr. Gregory Tank Thomas, the sack leader, coming back with 12 sacks, almost 100 tackles. We got him coming back as our defensive player, the one defensive player on this list. Who would you say are your top 5, Green?
I think these 5 right here fit the bill. If it was any 5, these probably would be, the 5 that I would have picked. There's so many guys that's out there that, of course, could be in the top 5. Just Sean Newton and Jeff Jones and Antoine Raymond, of course, they're top 3 hands down. Josh Robinson would have been in that top 5 for me, but of course, he's no longer considered a Pinellas County player with the transfer to CDS, so that kind of excludes him. And then just kind of looking at the landscape, there's going to be some kids that could be top 5, but right now, looking at the list, I believe that this top 5 is is really solid as far as guys returning that played major roles on their teams and put up big numbers for their ball club. So I can't argue with that. I will say that easily Tank Thomas could have been the defensive player of the year if we wanted to give an award for that. Jeff Jones could have been the all-around player of the year. I'm pretty sure he came in second behind Shawnee Newton. And, just looking at the quality of these guys, man, if we were to have a top 5 poll right now, with the new season starting in, you can shuffle them around, and you couldn't go wrong with how it comes out with 1 through 5 with these guys and the potential and the playing ability that they have. So
Definitely, definitely. And like this list, this list could easily switch. There's a lot of players coming back that were in our first and second team, Pinellas High School Media Group, first and second team. But right now, I know that we got one player that's going to be coming in real quick. That's in our top 5. We got Mr. Tank Thomas here coming in. What's going on? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear y'all.
All right, definitely, definitely, man. So we definitely want to congratulate you on your year. A lot of people, we saw some glimpses of it the year before, but this year you were definitely very special, man. So we want to congratulate you on that, and just get some questions for you, introduce you to everybody who doesn't know you. As you guys can see, we had him in our top 5. This was somebody who brought linebacker numbers from the defensive end spot. So he's definitely somebody who's going to be at the top of the list for Player of the Year. So we just wanted to get some questions in real quick with Tank. So my first question would be just looking back at your performance last season. What do you feel you could? What do you feel contributed you most to your success on the field? I see you working out a lot. I see you doing a lot of things, but what do you think contributed the most to your success last year?
I think my high motor and the hustle I give every play contributed the most because every play I'm getting back on the ball, not tired, staying fresh, and hustling to the ball to make the play every time they snap.
Okay, okay, definitely, man. And I don't see you as one of those type. You're not real big into the rankings. Of course, you want your respect. I definitely can understand that, but what just looking at these rankings and looking at around the state, um, as far as other rankings and other players and how it moved throughout the year. Um, what motivates you to strive for an even higher ranking when you look at those rankings? How do you feel?
I mean, it feels good to be recognized one of the top players in the county, but I think I can always do better. And I hate losing, so I'm striving to be better and coming first next year.
Definitely, definitely, man. And so of course you're a candidate for defensive lineman of the year. Like I say, one of the top in the state. Most of the year, you were in that top 5. What do you believe sets you apart, as far as defensive lineman, as far as in the county and beyond?
I think my work ethic sets me apart and my speed, of course, because a lot of O linemen can't keep up with it. And my first step off the ball is killer.
Right, that's right. Okay. And I know, with recruiting, with your type of numbers, usually most people are, getting highly recruited. But of course, I've seen it with my son. Size is just one of these things that, it's hard. It's hard to deal with. Um, but it's just something that we know you're going to get past. But how do you overcome the perception as far as size, and what message would you like to send to recruiters who underestimate your abilities?
I overcome the perception by working hard day in and day out and giving my all 100% every play. And the message I have to give to the recruiters is they should just give me a shot. And if they don't believe I can play, they can just watch my film or they can just watch me play next year because I feel I'm going to destroy everybody who play next year.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. So over the last 2 years, you got over 20 sacks. Can you just name some memorable moments and key plays or some key sacks? Like, just name some that stand out to you, like maybe the top 2 or 3 as far as memorable moments, as far as your sacks.
Um, my top two favorite sacks was one of them was my sophomore year when we played Clearwater. They went for it on like 4th and 10, and as soon as the ball was snapped, I was back there in the quarterback's face making a play. And then another one of my favorite sacks is when we played Lakewood. They had put me at linebacker, and I dropped down on a blitz, and I came from the backside on a
I
spread
saw
out
that.
to make the play. And those
Right,
are
right. Yeah, that was one of the that was a big play, man. I think we all saw that, man. And
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, that was a big play. So what are your individual and team goals for the upcoming season? And how do you plan to lead your team's success? What are some of your individual goals, and then what are your team goals?
I think my biggest individual goal this year is to have a 20 sack season. I feel I can do it. And the team goal I have is that we should win district championships this year. Last year we lost and it stung a little bit, but I feel we can win it this year. And we also need to win playoff games. That's the one hump we can't get over.
Right, right, right. Definitely, definitely. Green, you got any questions you wanted to ask real quick?
Yeah, I got a few. So what's up, Tank man? Congratulations to you again on a good season, man, and just all that you've been able to accomplish, man. Hats off to you and just all the things that you've done. The question that I have for you is Williams, Big Williams, the D tackle that you guys had that you played next to. I know a lot of times both of you guys was meeting at each other in the backfield, both getting to the quarterback together. And he kind of makes your job a little easier because if he gets pressure, he can force the quarterback one way or the other. What or how is the defense going to look now that his presence is gone from that defensive tackle spot and you was at the edge?
Well, we're gonna probably change the defense, so I'm in a better position to fight doubles because I know they're coming. Since there's no other threat on the D line this year, since everyone's leaving, I know
Mhm.
I'm prepared to fight more double teams and triple teams. So
Mhm.
my coaches are gonna put me in a better position to make plays this year.
Gotcha. And secondly, from a recruiting standpoint, where do you feel, or if you had a school right now that you say, man, this is my dream school. If they offered me today, I'm committing on the spot. Who would that school be and why?
Um, I think that school would be FSU probably
Okay.
because all my family lives in Florida, so then they could all come to the games, and all my family watches the games and likes FSU. So I think that'd probably be why everyone could come to the games and watch me play in
Gotcha.
college.
So Coach Odell, Coach Higgins, and Coach Mike Norvell, if you're watching, or if some Florida State fans are out there watching, coaches, y'all come get this young man, talented young man, and he'll definitely make your program better. So look out for Gregory Tank Thomas, defensive end. Also can play that outside linebacker, quick off the edge. Probably was going to be our defensive player of the year here in our county. And so y'all don't want to let him slide away and let somebody else get him. So Florida State, y'all come and get my boy. But man, like we said, it was an honor just being able to watch you play. I seen that play in person against Lakewood, and I was just amazed at the athletic ability that you showed on that play to be able to come from the backside, run the play down, and make that make that sack when you know what I mean. It was just an unbelievable play. So I'm just honored, and watching you play, you leave us in awe because it's like, man, who is that? Like, you make plays all over the field, and it's like, man, that's Tank again. Every time it's a tackle, it's almost like, man, that's Tank on the tackle. So I enjoy watching you play, and great job thus far for all that you've done, throughout the season, and coming into this year with the work ethic that you have, man. So I see nothing but success headed your way, and we're gonna be rooting for you throughout the season and up until the time you sign, and even when you get to the next level, we'll definitely be just rooting you on, man, and praying that all works out on your behalf.
Definitely, definitely, man. So I got one more question for you, Tank, man. For the before we end the show, um, what legacy do you hope to leave at Pinellas Park High School or just in the county? We know you're going to be a standout player. We know you're a good teammate, but what legacy do you want to leave? Or this, I know that you wanted to, you want to break the sack record, of course. But what else? What other goals do you have, and what definitely, like I said, what's your legacy that you want to leave?
Yeah, like you said, I do want to leave a legacy as the sack holder or sack record holder at the school. But other than that, I want to leave a legacy as a great player, all around great player in the classroom, on the field, and a very coachable player as well. And I think that's the legacy I want to leave, and a great teammate.
Definitely. Well, man, I definitely think that's already been established. So go ahead and check the boxes next to those.
Yep.
And we definitely appreciate you coming on, man. We definitely wanted to bring you in, show everybody, what the top 5 candidates get a chance to talk to you, man. And I definitely think this won't be our last time talking. Whenever you get those offers, whenever you decide to commit, let us know so you can come back on and let everybody else know. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. We appreciate you coming on, man, and we'll definitely holler at you.
Appreciate the invite.
All right. Have a great day.
Sir.
All right, y'all. All right, y'all. So, man, that's the show, man. It's been an hour. Definitely appreciate Coach Crume for coming on. We appreciate everybody for watching. This was a nice show, man. I definitely got a chance to. Glad we got a chance to talk to Coach Crume because it was an unexpected resignation, but like I said, it was definitely respected. So good to see he get his view, as he said. Calvary, Calvary is one of those schools where it's an experience. You know what I'm saying? So it's an honor to be a coach at a school like that. You got anything you want to say before we head off, Green?
Just from the answers that he gave, and the one thing that stuck out to me was when he said, when I asked him about what was the toughest part about being a high school coach, and he said that it was the rigorous grind of it being 7 days of 6 days a week, and it was nonstop. And I don't think some people see that side of it. I was able to dabble in it for a little while, and just knowing the the strain and what it takes to be a head coach in this
Mm-hmm.
area and just in general in the game of football, because it's almost like if you don't win, they're looking for a reason to get rid of you. You know what I mean? You can be the best motivator. You can have kids that have straight A's. You can have a team full of guys that have high GPAs, but if you're not putting W's in the win column, they're gonna get rid of you. You know what I'm saying? So it requires you to put in the extra hours. And if that means the missing time out on, family and different things. And, again, I think sometimes we forget that these coaches are husbands, fathers, uh, all of the above first, and then they'll coach,
Mm-hmm.
and so we kind of put these things on them, not realizing that they have lives, they have families, and when a coach decides to resign, it's almost like a shock, as if, oh, this can't be happening, or what's going on. And sometimes life just says, hey, it's time for you to do other things. So hats off to him for taking that, looking at what was best for him and doing what was best. And, at the end of the day, he has to look out for him and his family first. And so I commend him on that. And like you said, man, he'll definitely be missed, but I get it. And I'm with him 100% in whatever decision he decides to make going forward. I support it.
Definitely, man. Well, we appreciate everybody for watching. This is something we're going to be doing weekly on top of some other shows, man. So we appreciate everybody watching, man. We will definitely see you guys next week with some new stuff. You guys got any new things going on during the week? Basketball, football, whatever. Go ahead and send this to us so we can go ahead and throw it on the show. We're going to be trying to throw some different sports on here and have some different interviews for everybody. So once again, we appreciate everybody's support. Good night, y'all. We will talk to y'all later.